Do you find yourself wondering, defamation's as busy an area as ever, and in these days when people take to media like Twitter, for example, and unleash their opinions, do you find yourself thinking, almost wishing in a way that you could be back in the throng, because there's such a lot of rich pickings now in this area, because people seem to have forgotten caution and don't understand that you publish and you perish?
Publish at great risk. Oh, look, I'm content to be where I am. You can't live in the law as a busy advocate for forever. And I think I've had a pretty good innings, but I still do a bit of work, which I enjoy.
Mm. Of course, you ended up heading Blackstone Chambers too. In fact, you've had about 3 sets of chambers over the years: Selborne to begin with, and then Wardell, and then Blackstone.
I started off in a corner in the old Denman chambers.
Which have been pulled down.
Yeah, it was a place very much 19th century, probably middle 19th century.
Clive Evatt was there.
He was, that's right.
Did he used to shuffle around, I believe. He had a funny gait.
Yeah, but he was a very lively advocate.
Theatrical advocate.
Theatrical, very much so. If ever there was an advocate who relied predominantly on thespian qualities, it was he. But he also had a sort of great degree of cunning. He could read judges very well, irritate them to distraction, but he was at times a bit unscrupulous, but he was a very effective advocate, very effective.
So you mentioned the Denman chambers that you started out in.
Yeah, then I went to Selborne, the old Selborne, first floor, where Jack Cassidy and Jack Shand were practising. Also, it was a very strong floor. I arrived there through the good graces of Sir Henry Manning, who was, in those days, I'm talking about 49, 50, leader of the Liberal Party in the Legislative Council, and he had no time for practice. So I was allowed to
occupy a desk.
That room. Yeah.
And it was really just a desk, was it, in those days?
Yeah.
Not really even an office or a chambers?
Oh, a desk in the room. And that got me onto the floor, and I was there until Selborne was demolished. There was a temporary period at the Queen's Club on the corner of Macquarie and King, where we were given temporary accommodation. We were given very temporary accommodation pending the construction of Selborne Chambers, this building we're now in. And I went back into Selborne, the new Selborne, in 1961, I think. 61.
Just prior to taking silk?
Yeah, took silk in 62. Yeah.
When you applied to take silk, how many times did you apply?
Once.
That was good.
Well, there were only 4 people appointed in my intake. They were Whitlam, a man called Sweeney, who he had an industrial practice, Forbes officer, and myself, 4 of us. Forbes was a very, very prominent equity practitioner. Whitlam was not doing much because he was
very busy with his political career.
Yes.
I believe you and he used to exchange banter when you were Attorney General.
Oh, yes, we had a very good relationship. He used to ask me questions in the House, and we had a relationship that was friendly, civilised, and politically lively. And one of the most gracious things he did was that when when the High Court gave judgment in favour of the Commonwealth in the concrete pipes case, he made a speech in the House congratulating me.
Yes, I think he could hardly fail to be impressed.
Yeah, he was rather sad to see him in his wheelchair at his wife's funeral, memorial service.
You were there too?
No, I couldn't be. I had to do something in the country. But
Have you stayed in touch with him?
not really, no.
The
Well, he's been
Yes.
immobilised.
That's right, but I just wondered.
I mean, we always had an agreeable personal relationship.
Do you think those qualities, those civil exchanges you were referring to, are missing now in modern politics?
They seem to be.
Aside from manners, however, is there a loss also in public policy terms, do you think, in modern politics, in terms of the quality of exchange and thinking?
Well, I think that as I'm not there, I shouldn't form adverse judgments without knowing the full picture. You know?
Yes. I was just interested too, when you took silk, many people opted not to take silk. I've interviewed people in the past who said, no, it was a risky decision.
Yeah, it is.
Was that what you felt too, or you decided nevertheless you wanted it, no matter what?
I decided I wanted it. But of course, the field is so big these days.
Too big?
I think so.
Before you
When I was president of the bar, I had to deal with a very big influx of applications. I think there were about 40, which seem a small influx of applications by comparison with recent experience. But I had to deal with the disappointment of unsuccessful applicants, and I formed the view that there was much to be said for abolishing the rank altogether and letting water find its own level.
It remains contentious to this day.
Oh, yes, the method remains contentious. In the old days, it was relatively simple. Take my year, 4 applicants, and each was successful. I think there were only 4. None were refused.
I imagine they will never really go so far as to abolish it. Do you think?
I wonder.
Or are you thinking there's always that possibility?
Well, I think there's something to be said for it. If you don't have a rank, the laws of supply and demand will create the equivalent.
So you're really talking about a true marketplace.
Yeah.
A very, very interesting perspective to be adopting even now, I would think, because I hear every year there's argument about this. Perhaps it's all a bit repetitive from your point of view.
I think there's a lot to be said for abolishing the rank.